Hi everyone, I'm Catherine, and for today's class I'm going to be showing you how to make this striped ice pop cake for July 4th. You can order your kit for this class at candylandcrafts.com. If you do order your kit for this class, what is included, you would get 3 5-inch cakes, you will get 4 pastry bags, you will get red, white, and blue fondant, you will get a thing of buttercream, blue and red gel colorings, a small bag of blue chocolate, red, white, and blue sprinkles, a star tip, a decorative cake board, and also a cake cone because it has the teeth on it to help make the stripes on our cake. And other things that you will need for this class that aren't included in the kit: you will need a popsicle, a small offset spatula, a little pair of tweezers, that's just to help get the sprinkles on so you're not poking your cake, a bread knife or any kind of knife you have to trim the tops of your cake, a rolling pin, and also I use other star tips in my video, but you don't need to. It's just because I didn't feel like cleaning the star tip each time I piped my little rosettes and everything on the cake. So let's get started. To get started, we're going to make our popsicle first. You'll need your blue fondant, red fondant, and white fondant, and you're going to want to try and make them in equal parts and weight. So first, you're just going to knead your fondant until you can get it nice and smooth. Once you have your balls nice and smooth of fondant, I'm going to line them up blue, white, and red, and then I'm gently going to push them together, and then I'm going to use my rolling pin to roll them out smoothly into a rectangular shape. If your fondant isn't sticking together that well, you can always add a dab of water between them to help them stick. So now I'm just going to play with it and keep rolling them back and forth, get them to connect, and just push them together into a rectangular shape the best I can. And then I'm just going to keep on playing with it until I get the shape that I'm looking for. Once I sort of have the shape down, what I'm going to do is take my popsicle stick. I'm going to put it through my popsicle gently in between, just as far as I can. Your rectangle shape is going to kind of mush a little bit, but that's okay. You can just start to smooth it out again. And again, I'm just going to play with it and help mold it. And then with my blue fondant top of my popsicle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of gently pinch it into like more of a point shape. You know how like the rocket pops kind of are. And then using my hands, I'm just going to smooth it and just keep playing with it. And then I'm going to take my balling tool, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the lines like you would find on a popsicle. Just gently push it in and guide it in. If you don't have a balling tool at home, that's totally fine. You can use your finger for this. And you're just going to keep on playing with it until you get that nice popsicle shape you were looking for. I recommend doing this a day ahead so your popsicle can get nice and hard, so when we stick it into our cake, it's not going to flop on you. But make sure you put a little bit of cornstarch or powdered sugar underneath your popsicle while it's drying so it doesn't stick to whatever it's sitting on. So now I'm just going to play with it until I get the shape of my popsicle I'm looking for. The next thing we're going to do is trim the top of our cake. So you're going to want to take the hump off of the top of the cake. So you're going to put your bread knife to the side of the cake, and then slowly turning the cake into the knife, you're just going to gently guide it through and cut the tops off your cakes. And don't forget, you can save your humps for later. You can use them for cake pops, cakesicles, cake in a cup. You save them, they're great. You can wrap them up in the freezer for later. Now we're going to fill our cakes and crumb coat our cakes. What I do is I like to take my small offset spatula and loosen up my buttercream a little bit. It helps just smooth it out, pop any air bubbles that may be in it. It just makes it easier to work with. So I'm going to put a little bit of buttercream down on my cake board, and I'm going to put down my first layer of cake. And then I'm going to grab a good dollop of frosting, and I'm going to put it down in the center of my cake. Sorry, just trying to adjust the light there so you could see it better. So I'm gonna put my dollop of frosting down in the center of my cake. And then what I'm gonna do is, using my small offset spatula, I'm gonna push the buttercream out to the edges of the cake and just spin it, and then I'm gonna gently tilt my small offset towards myself, and then I'm gonna spin it so it gets the buttercream layers nice and level. If your buttercream layers aren't level, your cake is gonna be tilted. So then I'm gonna do this for the next layer also. For the top layer, I like to flip my cake upside down if the bottom is nice and flat on the cake, because then it just helps if you didn't level your cake off right and it wasn't that smooth. And then all the extra buttercream that's hanging off the side of the cake, so I'm just gonna use my small offset and I'm just gonna push it around the cake the best I can. This is gonna be our crumb coat layer, so this is gonna lock in all of our crumbs into our cake. So then when we put our final coat of buttercream on, we're not getting crumbs into our final buttercream. Which reminds me, try not to mix this coat of buttercream that you're scraping off your cake with your good buttercream, because you don't want those crumbs into the good buttercream. So then I'm just going to finish and just gently push the buttercream all around, and then I'm going to also use my bench scraper to just help smooth it out, and then we will refrigerate it for about 30 minutes. After your cake has sat in the fridge for about 30 minutes, then we're going to do our final coat of buttercream. So I'm going to take a big dollop of frosting and put it right on the top of my cake. And then, using my small offset spatula, the same way we did our layers, you're going to push it out to the edges of the cake, and then tilting the spatula towards myself, I'm going to turn the turntable. And then I'm going to use all that extra buttercream that falls down the side, and I'm just going to start spreading it evenly across the cake. So grab more buttercream if you need it, and just fill out all the empty spaces on your cake with your buttercream. Using your wrist, just push the icing back and forth. You can also get down and look at your cake eye level, and you can see where maybe the buttercream's a little higher or lower, and then you can just fill in those spots. Then, using my cake comb, first I'm going to use the straight side, but then we're going to use the T side that looks more like a square, and I'm going to smooth it out the best I can. Scrape off the excess that comes off, and then I'm also going to fill in any pockets or holes that may be in the cake that you see after you smooth it. You just want to make sure you get all those holes, because you want a nice and even layer the best you can with your cake. And then, taking your cake comb, I'm going to use my bigger teeth comb, and I'm just going to go around the cake, and you want to make that nice striped effect, and you're just going to keep going all around your cake until you get the nice stripe effect you like. And then, after you get the stripes into your cake, what you're going to do is you're going to level off the top of your cake by using your small offset spatula, and you're going to pull the extra icing that is on the top of the cake off by pulling it straight into the cake. Clean your spatula, straight in, clean your spatula. You do it all around the top, and then after that is done, you are going to place your cake in the fridge until the frosting and buttercream gets nice and hard. So while your cake was in the fridge, what I suggest doing is dyeing part of your buttercream red, and then you're going to put it into one of your pastry bags. And then we're going to cut the tip off of the pastry bag. Then you're going to take your red buttercream, and you're going to pipe it while turning your cake on a turntable, if you have one, into the empty spaces of the stripes on the cake. So every other one, you're going to pipe in the buttercream. After your buttercream is piped in all your stripes, you're going to take your cake comb, and using the flat side, you are going to hold it against the cake and you are going to start to turn it. And you're going to turn your cake and then make sure you scrape off the buttercream. And then you're going to keep going around the cake. So you're going to turn, scrape, turn, scrape. So I'm just going to keep going around the cake again and again until all the buttercream starts to show into the stripes of the cake. So as you can see, after you keep going around and around a few times, you'll finally get the stripes off your cake. Then I just take my small offset spatula and just gently try and remove all the buttercream excess that pulls to the top of the cake. And just gently try and smooth it out. You may get a little stripey on the top, but that's okay. Now is time to put your popsicle into the top of your cake. I do like to put a little toothpick in it just to help get it into the cake, and you're just going to push it gently into the cake. And then, like I said, just make it a day ahead so the popsicle is nice and hard. And then you're going to want to melt down your blue chocolate. You're going to melt it at 30-second intervals for the first 2 times and then 10 seconds after that. If you would like to make it into a ganache, you totally can. Just make sure it's equal parts chocolate to cream to get the right consistency. And again, melt it slowly in the microwave. And then you can gently spoon it down your cake. For this cake, I chose just to do the chocolate way, not the ganache way. And then you're just going to spoon it on your cake and just let it gently fall down. And then you're going to want to add your sprinkles to your ganache after you spoon it on immediately, so it sticks to the chocolate so it doesn't dry out on you. And that's when the tweezers come in handy, so you can pick up your sprinkles and gently place them the best you can on top of your ganache. It's okay if the chocolate kind of drips down awkwardly. I mean, it is supposed to look like a melting ice pop, so it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. And now I'm going to add my red, white, and blue sprinkles to the top of my chocolate so they stick nicely. And then I'm going to use my tweezers to gently place one by one down the dripping down the side of the cake. After you get your sprinkles on top of your chocolate, you're going to want to dye some of your buttercream blue. And then you're going to put a star tip on a pastry bag with some blue buttercream. And then you also, if you have the extra star tips, you can put your red buttercream in a bag with a star tip and some white buttercream in a bag with a star tip. Now is the time to pipe the rosettes on the cake. So with my blue buttercream that I dyed, I put on a star tip. With my red buttercream, I put a star tip, and for my white, I put a star tip. So then you're just going to start piping rosettes down the side of the cake. So for the blue, I'm going to do bigger rosettes. So holding your pastry bag straight up and down on your cake, you're going to squeeze and you're going to go clockwise out and pull it straight in. And you're just going to keep doing this. So squeeze, clockwise, counterclockwise, whichever way you want to go around the cake. And I'm just going to put rosettes all around the cake in the blue icing. Then using the white buttercream in the star tip, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do a rosette, but I'm going to hold the bag straight up and down to the cake, squeeze, stop, and pull away. And you're going to get these like little star blob kind of things around your cake. And I'm going to do that in the white icing all around. So now using the red icing with the star tip, what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze and go clockwise around, stop, pull away, squeeze, clockwise around, pull, stop. And smaller red ones all around the cake. And I'm going to repeat that process all around the whole cake between the blue, white, and red. Once you have your icings of rosettes and stars all around your cake, then you're going to take your red, white, and blue sprinkles and you're just going to sprinkle it all over your cake. To get it onto the side of my cake, you can see that I take some sprinkles in my hand and then I throw it to stick to the side of the cake. Just throw it on there. That's how you make your July 4th melting popsicle cake. Please feel free to share any pictures of the cakes you make. We would love to see them. Thank you for making a 4th of July ice pop cake with me today. I hope you had fun. You can order your kit for this class at candylandcrafts.com and many others. If you have any questions at all, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Pastry Mama. Have a great day and happy 4th of July.